the legacy that's long. That's the legend of the Armstrongs. Questions get answered, oh, you didn't know? Let's start the show.
Welcome back to the show. It's Road Dogg and Casio. Yeah!
Oh, no, I liked it better the other way.
People start going, man, he has let himself go.
I know. They've been
And I don't know which one they're maybe talking about.
They've been saying it about me for 20 years. So so you're late to the game about being washed up. No, how are you, Casio? It's been like 5 minutes since I talked to you last.
Look, I wanted to do this because I meant to do it last week. A shout out. I got to meet your boy, Johnny Russo, who you always have high praise for. Met him at the Hotel WrestleMania. Such a good dude, man.
Such a great guy. Man, he has seen me jump out of the car in a suit and a tie and threaten people's lives at an intersection in Stamford, Connecticut, where in Alabama you might think that's okay, but in Stanford everybody comes out of the woodworks.
What happened?
Well, the guy was rich and he thought he was doing something and he yelled at us. And look, I don't appreciate him talking to us in that tone. And when you have a convertible, sir, I can punch you directly into the car. There's nothing stopping me. And he realized that once I got out of the car and sped away. But that was just one of the times Johnny Russo has seen me go haywire and go, as Hunter would call it, redneck. But he's seen me, and what a wise soul he is to be so much younger than me, but he had such a better grasp of reality than I did. Even when I was sober, he helped me so much, and just as Johnny Russo we're talking about, he's now the lead writer of NXT, and I don't think that's, state secrets or anything, and so just not only a great employee for the company, but a great friend and a great guy. His mom would call in after NXT and give him the feedback on the show.
Oh,
yeah. She would tell us the next day in the meeting or something. He would say, and Mom called and she likes the guy with the hat. And she said, who was that girl on the motorcycle? She likes her. So it was, you know what I mean? It was just, it's, I don't know. I got to know him, and he's a great guy, like I said, and a great employee, and he's.
I mean, when I met him, I was like, "What is this guy doing, hanging with Dog?"
It's totally
he was well put together.
He's
polite,
mature. He's mature. He's all of the above. And look, he honestly talked me down a lot about a lot of stuff, and it's because he has a wise old soul. I never knew what anybody meant until I encountered Johnny Russo, and he is wise beyond his years, or maybe he's just normal and could tell me I was crazy. But either way, he was very helpful to me in my sanity. And my sobriety, dare I say. But yeah, he's a good friend and a good guy.
All right, Dog, but we're going to talk about...
Look, enough about him. Jiminy Christmas, isn't this about me? It's called Oh You Didn't Know.
Exactly.
Not Oh You Didn't Russo. You know what I'm saying?
Some quality time to Johnny Russo.
Some landscape.
Between him and the Vince Russo episode, we've got a lot of Russo.
We got a lot of Russo.
We need more
and
Dog.
You know what I want is when I watch that marathon of the Lethal Weapons the other night in Stamford, Connecticut. I watched all 4 of them back to back on TBS. So it was through commercials and everything. It was a good...
That's a long day.
It was a good 8 hour block.
And a lot of bleeped out words.
Yeah. But, and I forget her first name. Is it Anne Russo? No, Renee Russo. Renee Russo. And a little known fact was her and... Glenn Close were both lumberjacks, and I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but that's a fact.
Can I give credit? Our producer, our new producer, the better D'Angelo. We got rid of Swole Angelo and got this deflated version.
Troll Angelo.
Troll Angelo.
I'm sorry, Don.
Can I give him credit?
Yes, please.
He knew where you were going. Did you see it in the chat?
He knew exactly where I was going and
Before
gave me the answer.
You even said, what's her name?
But you know what? To be fair,
Uh-huh.
I'm not that intricate. like you know where I'm going 99% of the time.
Did you ever get into the Lethal Weapon TV show?
No, I didn't.
Good. It was short-lived, but it was good.
It was short-lived. Who was in that? Was it a female lead?
No, it was two guys. One guy, he's actually from Alabama. I forgot his name. Great actor. I'm such a big fan. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
But he did great.
He made
and,
such a... he
son,
impacted my life.
Right. He changed the way I view television. No clue what his name is. But he was with the Wayans' son. It was very funny.
That's right. I did see either one episode or the promos for it or something because I do remember that. And
you didn't watch along with everybody. Apparently, it got canceled. I think after one season.
Apparently, you and everybody else only saw the promos for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it didn't last a good season.
You're in the masses where you go, I think I saw something, a blurb. Maybe.
Was there a weigh-ins in that?
You could throw.
Was there a weigh-ins in that, and 50% of the time be right.
Yeah, everything. You win. All right. We're going to talk about a premium live event that happened overseas. But before we get to that, let's go current day, dog.
Current day, today.
As this is dropping and you are consuming it, it is April 27th. And just coming up on May 6th, WWE is going to be in Puerto Rico. For WrestleMania Backlash. This is going to be a cool event, dog.
Well, donde está la biblioteca? You know what I'm saying? That's speaking.
Me llamo Matt Foley. El Bebo.
I thought you were doing Terry Funk.
I was going to do Matt Foley motivation.
That was my Terry Foley.
It was your Terry. And your JR.
Yeah. All of the above.
El Bebo and Van, Saturday and Red.
So what are we talking about again? A premium live event?
The buzz and the coolness of going to Puerto Rico for Backlash.
Yeah.
This has got to be fun to talk about and plan.
Very, very cool. Like to me, it was one of those ones where I go like, look, I work remotely, but do you care if I go?
Are you going to get to go?
No, I am not going to get. I'm not going to get to go. And the truth be told is the job that I'm doing right now does not actually serves me better to not be there. You know what I mean? It serves, so it's a great job that I have right now. But like it's exciting to go because look, I remember my time as a talent going to Puerto Rico, and it's a different. This was a long time ago too. It was a totally different atmosphere, and there was a lot of yellow cocaine. I don't know why it was yellow, but the times were not yellow. They were exciting and fun, from what I hear. But like I had a blast in Puerto Rico, and so. I would love to go back, but I would love to go back now to appreciate the island, and you know what I mean, for totally different reasons than I went the first time. You know what I mean? The first time I went, me and my wife talked to Jerry Springer about going on the show with him. That's a true story too. Macho Man was in the lobby of the hotel, and we were all, it was just crazy. But yeah, me and my wife were going to go on Jerry Springer after that, I guess. I think they rightfully shot that down.
What? Rightfully?
Yeah, they were like, please, God.
I've always heard Puerto Rico fans are amazing, very passionate,
very
and
passionate.
Ready to go.
Yeah. And look, they also haven't had a premium live event, and now Bad Bunny's added to the card, and so it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and it's actually panning out to be a really good card. And so I don't know. I'm excited about it, and I'm excited about the business proposition of it. Is that a place we can go to more often? Is that a place we could actually draw money on a quarterly basis or something, running live events and everything? So I think it opens up an avenue for revenue in the future. I'm hoping anyway.
We'll be watching that Saturday, May 6th, WWE Puerto Rico WrestleMania Backlash. You can see that, of course, on Peacock, as the kids call it, the cock.
Yes, that's what
Peacock.
Every kid calls it.
Every one of them.
I said to my daughter the other day, what do you...
on the
And then she said it, I just backhanded her. Don't you talk like that in this house.
See, there you go, going redneck again.
Yeah, and she ducked my backhand and hit me with a hip toss.
Schoolboy.
Hip toss drop kick. Hip toss drop kick, clothesline me over the top. Bing, bang, boom.
All right, let's go to today's topic. This is another overseas premium live event. The greatest Royal Rumble. Dog, talk me through when you're told that WWE is going to be producing a pay-per-view type event. Some would even call it a PLE, a premium live event, in Saudi Arabia.
I would call it a PLE. I also think it's like holy mackerel. It's right in the name. It's not just a Royal Rumble. It is the greatest Royal Rumble ever. So, I mean, I don't know
set the bar there.
If there's any mistaken about what kind of Rumble it was going to be.
Right.
Not only Royal, but the greatest Royal. So, like Prince Albert in a can. Anyway, I think it's a business decision. It's a business deal. A lot of people controversy over that, but at the end of the day, we're a company that's in business to stay in business. You know what I mean? And so that was the decision made, and I love it. We're going to talk here briefly about women and the fact that they weren't really welcomed over there until later, but now we're going back there and talking. Women are wrestling now, and so what I see is growth on a kind of a global scale, which is really weird when you're talking about the WWE, but. It's kind of, you know what I mean? It's kind of the truth. And again, you can debate that all you want to, but it is kind of the truth. And so I think it's very cool especially to be a part of it, but not just to be a part of it, to watch that transpire and kind of become acceptable. You know what I mean? Something that is so far from our imagination. We can't even fathom that kind of stuff. And so it's really cool to be a part of that and see that happening.
Did you kind of, I know as a fan perspective, I heard this a bunch where somebody would say they're going to the greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia, and everybody go, where? Where's that? Did you say Saudi Arabia? Was that kind of like that in the office? Like, wait, what? Is this happening?
Yeah. I mean, it was, but it was,
a big deal.
It is a big deal, and it's a savvy business deal. And I think it's savvy for all involved, and I think that's why the deal was made. Is it controversial? Like, I don't know. I don't know if you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about that. We're going over there to put on a show and hopefully, bring smiles to people's faces the world over. That's our mission statement. That's what we're trying to do. And so don't put us in that conversation and the argument. You know what I mean? Like, that's something for you and somebody else to have.
What, just to set the record straight for everybody that's listening, what exactly was your role at this time?
So I don't remember exactly what time this was. But
April 27th, 2018.
So I feel like I was either writing SmackDown or I had just kind of stepped away from that and went to NXT. Okay. And I'm thinking I was already at NXT when this went down. So I was kind of in the loop, but getting out of it as weeks went by.
It's the 5th anniversary of that. Does it seem like that long ago? Does it seem longer? Seem shorter for you?
Wow.
What does it feel like?
Yeah, it seems like that long ago. You know what I mean? Like time, as I get older and sober, and you know what I mean, and kind of living my life like normal folks do. Time feels like time. You know what I mean? It feels like it was a while because it was before I went, or right at the beginning of when I went to NXT, and that was, 5 years ago. So it was. Yeah, it's
about right.
It's cool. Yeah, it feels about right. Time flies, of course, especially when you're having fun. And so after I quit writing SmackDown, I started having fun.
By the way, thank you, Dom. Clayne Crawford was the guy in Lethal Weapon TV show that changed my life.
Clayne Crawford.
Hey, by the way,
we'll never remember that.
I will from now on. If you do a Google search, don't look into his eyes. He's a dreamy man. Okay?
Hey, and is it Clayne or Clonye?
Well, I think he's from Coleman, Alabama, so it's going to be Clayne. Now, he does have a lumberjack.
Is he from Coleman?
He might be. I think he's for sure from Alabama.
Yeah,
and
so that right there says it all.
Good-looking hair, good-looking stash.
That's what bald people say.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like he's fit.
Anybody with hair, I'm like, man, good-looking hair.
Man, he's got a hell of a head of hair. It's dreamy.
What's What's it like? What's more than mine? So
what's having hair like?
What is that?
Oh, that's what I say too. Hey, what's having hair in the middle of your back of your? Me and John Cena have this.
I was about to say, do you have the Cena back there yet?
I have the Cena.
The old Cedar cut, as we call it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the greatest Royal Rumble. Some of the things that happened leading up to it. Paige, sadly, is not cleared to compete. And with Daniel Bryan being cleared, she is slotted in as the new GM of SmackDown. What did you think of having Paige in that role?
Look, I loved her in that role, and she actually took to it like a duck to water. Of course, she's an entertainer and a sports entertainer. I'm not sure if I'm a better sports entertainer than her or not. Maybe we'll find that out one day. But I liked her in that role. Of course, I wanted her to be able to perform and work and wrestle, but that's not where she was physically right then. So I was proud to have her in that spot. And like I said, she actually gravitated to it a little bit, and where we texted back and forth about weekly stuff I wanted her to do. And so it was really cool, not only having her in that position, but kind of developing that working relationship with her that I didn't really have. But she was very pivotal in my love for wrestling, for women's wrestling, for women's wrestling. And I know I was late to the game, but that's her and Emma. Just had some matches that I just thought, like, holy mackerel, man, they're better than I ever was. You know what I mean? And so it's like if you don't respect that, I don't know what you're thinking about. But I just appreciated having her on the team, tell you the truth.
Also, Shane McMahon had also quit a few weeks ago in story, but here he was introducing Paige as the new GM. Did Jane just float in and out whenever he wanted to back then, or what?
Is this the Observer asking?
No, this is us.
He literally
quit and then floated in and announced her.
Look, I don't know if you missed it, but he just showed up at Mania and had a match too. And
he did.
And you know what I mean? And so it was, he kind of floats. And having said that, like, when he comes back, you saw at Mania, he gets a pop, he gets a reaction. He was in that time of all those over people, he was one of them. You know what I mean? And so he comes out, he gets that good nostalgia pop, and so what you can say what you want to say about it, but truth is what it is, you know.
Hey, this is Cash Wheeler with FTR, aka one half of the greatest tag team of all time, saying go right now, savewithconrad.com, and I promise you won't regret it.
If I could say take advantage of one thing with First Family Mortgage, it is the knowledge that they have, because they have knowledge far beyond just the loan process, and they can help you out with all of that.
That's how confident I am with working with these people. Like, I'm going to keep buying and I'm going to keep going back.
SaveWithConrad.com. NMLS number 65084, equal housing lender. Woo!
And we know Shane watches this a lot. So
he's a subscriber.
Yeah, I want to wish him the best on his
Shane.
legs healing.
Yeah. Oh, bless his heart, man. That seems like it's and even by marriage, like, they've all blown their quads out. Hunter, Shane, Vince. Like, yeah, knock on wood. If I had a quad, I'd probably have blown it out by now.
They come in quads. So somebody else is about to go.
I got a trio or something like that.
The first SmackDown that Bryan can wrestle on, he is booked to work AJ Styles. We talked about this in some previous episodes. This is trying to get as much out of Bryan as quickly as possible, right? Just in case something was going to happen.
I guess
because it's a big match to start with.
It's a huge match to start with. But here was my thinking, and I remember having this conversation with the two gentlemen that we're talking about, and them saying, "You're just throwing this match away." And I said, "Well, for you to say that to a guy who spends every waking moment trying to get a number to go upward every Tuesday, or we've just gone live on I think we just gone live on Tuesdays. So anyway, I'm thinking about old man Nielsen and what he's going to say. I'm trying to get people to watch a television show. I'm trying to get a number up so that television ratings and television, to a network, that's all that metric you can go by.
Yeah.
So I'm doing everything I can every day of my life to drive this number up. And now you say I'm throwing it away because of a creative decision. Like, I beg to differ. I think you can have an exhibition. Like, how good is Daniel? People ain't seen Daniel if they just started watching a year ago. Whatever. Like, how do we? Let's see. Let's show them what this is. And I'll ask the question, and I believe this with all of me. Well, it's my truth. I would have paid the next pay-per-view again to see that match and see it in its entirety. Even after seeing 12 or 15 minutes of it on television, I would have gladly paid again to see what I now know and knew already was going to be a barn burner and maybe banger before bangers were born. But it was going to be awesome. And this is going to, if you're a wrestling fan, you're going to want to watch this show. You're going to want to watch this match. Yeah. And look, all I can say is we didn't make it a lumberjack match. So Glenn Close and that damn Rene Russo were nowhere to be found. But look,
Glenn Crawford is guest referee.
You know, yeah, Klanye. But it's a philosophical argument. And it's I'm telling you, it's Bret Hart, Road Dogg. And I'm not putting myself in the Bret Hart conversation. He was far superior to me in the world of wrestling. I get that. But it's the two different philosophies is the analogy. You can say if you want to, oh my God, you just gave that away. You just threw that away. But like, did I really? Like last night on television. Already today. You know what I mean? Like, so people have a really short attention span. You give them a taste of this, and I was selling weed in wrestling form. I was giving them a taste for free, and then I was going to make them pay for it on the back end. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what I'm saying. I'm sorry. I forget who I'm talking to sometimes.
Never bought drugs.
This is not an NA meeting, Bryan.
The Usos would defeat Big E and Woods for a tag team title match against the Bludgeon Brothers in Saudi Arabia. It just seems like the Usos have been good forever, Tom.
Oh, man.
I mean,
and so,
what are we doing?
Go back in time and think about the tag matches that just those four gentlemen have had in Big E, Xavier, Kofi, Big E, whatever iteration you want to put together versus the Usos. It's been good for 10 years now. You know what I mean? And if you remember, they had and Dom, you can fact check me on this because I want to make sure I'm honest on this. They were the first ever tag team Hell in a Cell match that those four guys. And I remember having to sell this hard, but they delivered and then some, man. They were creative, they were innovative in their aggression and their violence, for lack of a better term. It just raised the bar in my mind for Hell in the Cell matches. You know what I mean? And it was super cool. They've been doing it for a long time together, the Usos and New Day, and it don't ever get old. I could watch it again tomorrow.
Every single time.
Yeah.
You touched on it earlier. By the way, Triple H and Shawn Michaels defeated Mr. McMahon and Shane McMahon and Big Show. That was technically the first.
The first Hell in the Cell?
That's what our producer did. Unforgiven 2006.
Yeah, that one sucked. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that out loud. I just meant I wasn't counting that one.
Well, guess what? We remember this one. We remember the one you're talking about. Nobody remembers the other one, so you win on that.
No, but that's okay. So I'm glad you kept me honest, Dom. I don't mean to get told I'm wrong and then make fun of you for telling me that.
You blasted me.
That's classic narcissist ego with an inferiority complex. I don't know how I feel right now. As long as I bash you, I'll feel better about me.
Thankfully, we can only see his words, or we would see his tears.
No, we wouldn't. He's naked, lashing himself right now.
And that was before the show.
He said he's crying. He's crying with the Ray mask on.
He was naked, lashing himself before we even started the show.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
All right, let's go back to this. You touched on it a little bit earlier. The women not being allowed to wrestle in Saudi Arabia until some point in the future. Was that frustrating for you guys as a company, as a booking? I'm sure the women are frustrated. They don't get to be a part of this event as well. But
Yeah,
it comes with the territory. You know what you're getting into there.
Well, in that region of the country, you do know, culturally, you're going to have to mold a little bit. Same when you go to India. Same when you know what I mean. You have to kind of modify your stuff to fit their cultural needs. What I don't know how to say that exactly, but you don't want to offend them or a portion of them or any of them. You know what I mean? You want to go and have a good time, and so you have to bend creatively. I was going to say about this, like, this probably wasn't near as big a deal to me as it was to women, and I'm saying that as a 53-year-old man who's been sober for 12 of his years and just figuring out, like, oh, women are different than me. They don't all think like I, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just now coming of age at 53, almost 54. But so I imagine women have seen this kind of thing before, but like, it hasn't come in my face so much as this did. And it was just like, wow, really? Like, you can't, you know what I mean? In my day to day, I don't stop and think about, the restrictions on women in Saudi Arabia. And so just when you do think about those things, it's kind of eye opening. Like, wow, we're actually very progressive compared to some of the world. You know what I mean? Some of other parts of the world. And so again, I think women probably have felt that before, but it was the first time I had ever felt like, dang, man, that's wrong. You know what I mean? Like, we should do something about that.
Right.
And truth be told, I think that, we kind of are. We're doing it with the people. You know what I mean?
Does that, from your side of the thing, from the side of this, does that hinder giving them TV time leading up to it? Because I know you're trying to book for a premium live event.
Yeah.
Or do you have to make sure we still got to feature them correctly for their storylines to keep continuing on?
Look, everybody needs to have their time, and you're not gonna stop telling a woman's story because that they're not on the pay-per-view. You gotta tell their story on television, even if it's not a premium live event story. You know what I mean? This is a lot of times you tell a story on TV, knowing it's never going to go to a premium live event or anything other than like a gimmick match at the end of it or whatever. And that's a build to a TV to, oh my Lord, it is a lumberjack match with Glenn Close and Rene Russo. So yeah, you don't stop telling the stories, because the Tuesday, Monday, whatever it is after that, PLE, you got to continue on. You know what I mean? And there's another one coming where maybe that women's championship is going to be represented and going to be defended.
From the Observer, Renee Young interviewed Nakamura. She asked why he turned on Styles. He said that he didn't know what came over him, that maybe he got too emotional, and he's very sorry for what he did.
Yep.
Then he winked to show that he was letting us know this was all a swerve. Young figured out that he was being disingenuous, so she asked him again why he turned on Styles, and he said, sorry, no speak English. He delivered that line great, even though he was trying to be a total heel. He was so charismatic that it came off like a baby face.
Yeah.
We've talked about it before, and you've even sided with maybe give him subtitles. Maybe his lost in translation, so to speak, doesn't hinder him. Maybe he could have been one of the guys that could have broke that mold.
I think so, because his one of the comments about that was his how charismatic he is and how he takes what he has and makes more of it. And at first, when he first showed up to NXT, and I got to be honest with everybody, I'm not a fan of Japanese wrestling, and I don't mean that I'm not a fan of them. I just haven't followed them. I haven't been a fan, so I'm uneducated or ignorant, if you want to say that. You can call me whatever you want to the Japanese wrestling and their rosters and such. So when he came over, I thought, okay, let's see what all the fuss is about. And to be quite honest, I didn't see it until like a couple of matches in. I think he worked Sami Zayn on an NXT thing or something, and it was just like, oh, okay, I get it now. I see it now. And you can't articulate that. Nobody could tell me what was cool about him. You have to just experience Shinsuke Nakamura and the vibe that is he to get how cool and charismatic he is. Having said that, I don't know if this was Renee Young or Rene Russo interviewing him, but I think, it was great. He winked at the camera and then, So it was great. He delivered it with such charisma, and I think he could. I think Asuka, and maybe Io Sky could get it when I'm thinking about Japanese wrestlers and the verbiage, and different language barriers. So I totally think those three, because they're very animated, I guess, and very charismatic is a great word for it, but it's more than that. They just bring something extra, and you feel it even if you don't understand what they're saying. You know what I mean?
Also, the IIconics make their debut, interrupting a Charlotte promo. Are you excited to have the IIconics on SmackDown, dog?
I got to be honest. I was a huge fan, still am, of the IIconics. And I'll tell you what, look, I don't think it's any great secret that Billy Ray wasn't the greatest worker in the world. But she was the glue, man, I'm telling you, she is a young Australian, Carol Burnett or something. Like she's classically funny. In a classic comedy kind of way, like she was brought up on golfing with Dorf or something, and so it's just, she has really classic comedy timing and delivery, and man, she was the glue that held them together in promos and stuff. But look, I loved giving them promo time because they just cracked themselves up, and it entertained the crap out of me too. I really love those two.
I mean, perfect heels. I remember more of their promos than I do their matches. I
mean
that as a good thing.
Yes, because it was entertaining, and it was different, and it was, I don't know, man. What can I say? Bluey, all the Australians are real sweethearts.
They attack Charlotte and leave her laying, which opens the door for Carmella to finally come out and cash in her Money in the Bank contract, and Carmella is the new champion. Meltzer would say, I have no idea the purpose of having Charlotte break the streak and then having her lose the title the next day. Basically, they ended the streak for no reason and got no value out of it, unlike with Lesnar, who ended the streak and was super protected for a long time after. It is very possible this loss was to set up Charlotte switching sides, so she had to drop the title. If that doesn't happen, it makes it more perplexing. And if the goal is Charlotte versus Rousey next year, I get it. But they could have just flipped champions and not beaten her one day after ending the streak. Fans cheered this whole segment like crazy because they came to see new people and cash-ins. Dog?
Wow, we gave the fans what they want, and
the fans were going crazy. Let me slid that in after a whole paragraph.
It made him mad that we did that. And look, I get it. There's room for that idea in the concert of ideas, but there's also room in the exact last statement you made. Like, it was, the fans were popping, and it was, and Carmella was, like, you can argue that she was not ready for prime time, that she was young, and all these girls are wrestling great, and here she comes, just kind of a pretty face, and she can wrestle, but she is not at the level of Charlotte, you know what I mean? And people know that, but here she is. We debuted this new tag team, they drop the girl, and then here comes, like, I don't know, I think it's great storytelling, I think it's great wrestling, I think it's great moments, and I'll back up and say, I think that's all wrestling is now. I think it's almost all life is now, moments. And it's, how do we present those? How do we wrap them up and package them up and present them to you? And then how do you receive it? How do you perceive it? And so, I don't know. I thought it was good stuff, man. A lot of new eyeballs on the program, and things are a-changing. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Call me crazy.
This much poop, and then the fans are going crazy.
Oh, by the way, the fans were going crazy during this part.
You're building to Backlash at the same time you're building to the Greatest Royal Rumble.
Yep.
How do you figure out what's best to promote each week on each show?
Well, I mean, you just make a decision and go with it because it's precedent setting. You know what I mean? You've never done this before, so you're just literally writing the shows and going, okay, well, we got to promote that for this, and we got to promote, and so it's just you get it in where you can fit it in, and you try to tell every story. And sometimes it comes out like 10 pounds of crap in a 5-pound bag. Sometimes it comes out awesome. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think a lot of the times. More so than not, during this period, it came out awesome.
From the Observer, Styles came out and said that Bryan is great and one of the best ever, but he's not phenomenal. Cool. Styles versus Bryan ended in a no contest, 12 minutes and 41 seconds, when Nakamura interfered. This was the first time these two had a singles match in 12 years. Of course, these two are always going to have a good match. But it was such an incredible waste of what could have been a classic if they had just saved it and built it up.
I'll be darned. So it wasn't any good.
Right. It's a great match. Why'd you give it to us?
And look, I understand that argument. I really do. Right. Because you could tell that story and build to it and get there. And then what you're going to have is a great wrestling match. And I honestly think that these two guys go out there and give you 12, almost 13 minutes. I think the next night or any night after that, they could give you 30 totally different minutes, and I'd pay to see it. And that was my thinking going into it. That was my thinking telling them that. I knew I'm pretty sure this my timeline is correct here. I wasn't going to have them both on the same show for a while because I think the draft was coming up, and so I thought, let's get it on, guys.
By the way, just for the record, Dog, you might be interested in this. SmackDown on 410 did 2.952 million viewers. The third best number since it went to the live format. And by the way, he's mad because we gave it to you. Well, it's exactly what you said. We're getting new eyeballs.
New eyeballs on the product and committed eyeballs that are wrestling fans. Like, if you're a wrestling fan, are you mad that we booked this match on SmackDown? And if you are, I get it, but man, you know what I mean? Like, it's not the end of the world at all. It's just a wrestling match. And they go for 13 minutes and then Nakamura, the guy he's in a story with, cheats and gets involved. And it's pro wrestling, man, 101. And I thought it was a great match, even though it wasn't a great match. I sold it to them as to having an exhibition about wrestling, and at the right time, Nakamura will come in. And so, I left it up to their professionalism to not go out there and phone it in. I knew they couldn't go out there and dance with each other. I knew they were going to go out there and try to work hard. And so I thought, that's good. That's what I want. That's what the people want. I'm sorry I gave it to you without building it up. But they worked 12 years before, so technically you've seen it already.
Yeah, no big deal. We've already seen this. There's always a high coming off WrestleMania, Dog. From the office perspective, why do you think sometimes there's viewership drops off afterwards?
Well, I think it's summertime, or it's getting into springtime. I mean, in April, it's school's in, WrestleMania season is a real thing. Like the product amps up, like everything amps up, and you start getting on that, that road to WrestleMania is a real thing. And you get on that creatively, you get on that as a fan, you get on that as a member of the leadership, and you're on that road to WrestleMania, man. And it would be great to cross that finish line at the end of night 2 and go, whew, we did it. But you got to do Raw again the next day. And so it is a race for the finish line. But the finish line's never there. I totally forgot what we were talking about. Just
talking about WrestleMania season, how viewership drops off.
So I think it all amps up for Mania, and I think everybody, and even, dare I say, the company too, a little bit. And maybe this is just me speculating, but everybody maybe does try to take a breath and go like, oh, okay. So now we don't have Logan Paul next week. So now we don't have, you know what I mean? Like, okay, so what are we going to do with
Bad Bunny's
so-and-so?
not coming out on the stick.
And here we. So now it's not a reset because you never stopped. It's just a bit of a okay, now we got to grind a little bit because we don't have, it's not on the road to WrestleMania. And why that's different, I don't know, but it just is. It's a real thing.
Back to the Observer, they say, so this is weird. Just days after announcing that the Undertaker versus Rusev casket match on 4/27 in Saudi Arabia was off and Jericho was replacing him, it changed back. The storyline reason is Lana approved of the change. Of course, in storyline, Lana has been apart from Rusev for some time. It was just creative plans changing twice. Dog, you were a part of the conversations regarding the match with Taker and with Jericho, considering the work he had done at this point with New Japan.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about this?
So the truth be told, even though I was in some of those meetings, some conversations about certain talents are even done above that. You know what I mean? In very smaller groups, the proverbial smaller group meeting. And so I really wasn't aware of the whole Jericho thing. I'd heard rumblings, but I really wasn't aware of the dealings that were being done. And so I honestly don't know. That was literally above my pay grade. I didn't know about all that was. I remember it changing and it being like frustrating because we didn't know what was going on and it kept changing. And so I think I was going through kind of what everybody else was going through during that period, is what's going on.
Also booked for the Saudi show in the Royal Rumble is Rey Mysterio,
Yep.
Shane McMahon, Mark Henry, the Great Khali. How are you putting this show together? Who's doing the work to come up with the names to fill out the Rumble?
Well, I mean, it's just like everything else. It's definitely a team effort. And thank goodness we had most of the guys on the roster that you know what I mean, that we could get everybody over there and kind of fill up that 50, just adding a couple from outside the company. And so this was, Ray was back now and starting again. And so we were excited about that. And it's the same as a Royal Rumble, only there's 20 more guys.
You mentioned it earlier. You alluded to it. The Superstar Shakeup takes place.
Yeah.
And it's when the WWE switches the rosters around. Dog, how are those decisions made? Is that just,
Man.
I mean, that's a big deal to switch brands.
It really is. But so I was writing for SmackDown and the other people are writing for Raw, and we're in there and we're talking in an open forum about who's going to get who and who's going to get what. But you can't help but to go like, oh crap, you're taking him. You know what I mean? Or okay, you can have him. Or you know what I mean? So it can't help but take it a little personally, but it's a conversation, an open forum of ideas, and everybody's heard and everybody kind of gets it. It's not kind of, everybody gets it at the end of the day. This is what we're doing. Charge the machine gun bunker and don't worry about how you do it.
For details' sake, and you can chime in or stop me if you want to. If not, I'll just go through the changes. But moving from SmackDown to Raw, we're the U.S. champion Jinder Mahal and Sunil Singh, the Riot Squad, Zack Ryder, Breezango, Natalya, Mojo Rawley, friend of the show, Dolph Ziggler, Baron Corbin, Mike Kanellis, The Ascension, Bobby Roode, and Chad Gable. And then also Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn moved to Raw as free agents. And Drew McIntyre moved to Raw from NXT.
Yeah.
You lost some names there, dog.
I lost some names, but the
Lost
way
a champ?
the way you have to look at it is, I got some new ones, and
All
so
right.
what am I gonna do? Is there something I can do with the new ones that they didn't do? Maybe is there somewhere I can go with said talent that they didn't try to go? And look, I think arguably enough. I don't know if it was right after this or when it was exactly, but you had Heath Slater and Rhino were the tag champs on SmackDown for a minute, and there was some real funny vignettes and stuff with Heath Slater and he's got kids and all that stuff. So I think we tried to do with what we ended up with in a good way, and I think it turned out some entertaining television.
Here's who you got. Moving from Raw to SmackDown, you get The Miz. That's always a plus.
Amen.
U.S. champion Jeff Hardy, who had just defeated Jinder Mahal to win the title on Raw. Absolution, which is Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Big Cass. That's not me. That's the other Big Cass, the really big Cass. Asuka, Gallows, and Anderson. Cesaro and Sheamus and R-Truth came back to SmackDown, baby.
Yeah. Oh.
That's a pretty good crew to get coming back, my friend.
Look, I mean, think about it. So, yeah, I did lose some people, but that's a good roster you just read off that SmackDown got. And so the way I and my team looked at it is, hey, this is a fresh, clean slate of all these guys. You know what I mean? All these guys and girls. And what do we do with them on our watch? You know what I mean? And so I don't know. I always found it challenging, kind of in an exhilarating, exciting way. You know what I mean? Like, not like,
we got new ingredients. Let's see what
crap.
we can make with it.
Who they gonna get? You know what I mean? It's like, who we gonna get? You know what I mean?
By the way, also you got SmackDown moving up from NXT was Sanity, Andrade, and Zelina Vega. Another three great young wrestlers. Then looking back to 2018.
And also I remember booking some of those just totally Andrade and Rey Mysterio matches just to do them. You know what I mean? Like,
we got it. Let's do it.
Hey, at some point you go like, okay, this is a wrestling show, right? Let's watch some awesome wrestling. And so that's what I kind of tried to do. I thought, if we can do this, and do it well, like, we make everybody happy. You know what I mean? Like, you make the hardcore committed fans happy. If new fans or lapsed fans chime in, they're getting good product. I just thought it was a great way to go, and SmackDown was your little wrestling show. You know what I mean?
How long, from your perspective behind the scenes, do you know who you're going to get? Do you know who's going to swap? Is that months out, weeks out? Is it last minute?
So I don't know. I don't remember how it was this year, but I remember it happening a couple of different ways. One year it was last minute, and then one year we kind of knew going in, and so it was. Okay. It's happened, case by case scenario.
There's no standard issue for that. Okay.
No, and the thing is, it's all precedent setting, right? Every time we do something new, ain't never been done before, so we can figure out how to do it as we go. Just
to try to be a fly on that wall in that meeting room. And you said, hey, oh man, don't take that guy or don't take that girl. We like that. Is there ever a point where you talk them out of that, or when it's announced, it's a done deal? You don't ever debate them and go, oh, no, you can't take that guy.
Not really. And that's what I was saying. I wanted to clear that up. Like, I say, like you say, like, oh, I never said that out loud. You know what I mean?
Once it's announced, it's announced.
Yeah. And once the decision's made, then it's a business decision. It's got nothing to do with my feelings anymore. You know what I mean? It's like, this is the business decision that was made. Now we go forward with it. And that's that,
The next SmackDown is to reinforce the changes, get the new talent introduced. Do you think there are a lot of just SmackDown viewers and vice versa that you need to do introductions for talent? What's your philosophy on that? I mean, it's probably hard to tell.
Yeah, it is very hard to tell, because you can look at the analytics the analytics and find out that, like, okay, so many of SmackDown viewers watch Raw and this and that, and so but you're right, you can't really tell. Like, I think wrestling fans watch wrestling. You know what I mean? That's how I've always felt. No, I don't feel like you have to introduce Jeff Hardy to the SmackDown audience, but I do think it is a cool moment to have him show up by a surprise or something and go, oh, he's on here now. You know what I mean? So it's cool moments, like I mentioned earlier, moments. It's a cool moment. And now he's on here, and we'll go with that. You know what I mean?
All right, let's keep it rolling. On the next SmackDown, Harper pinned Jey Uso in 47 seconds.
Well,
the Observer says weird booking to have the challenger lose so quickly and almost squash form before the title match. Jay went to hit Rowan with a tope. Jimmy super kicked Rowan. Harper then hit the discus clothesline on Jay for the pin.
Oh.
And Jimmy got the sledgehammer and hit Harper in the gut. But Harper then threw him into the steps. Harper and Rowan beat down the Usos and got both sledgehammers. Oh. Naomi ran down, all crying, and begged them to stop. They looked at each other and walked away.
Yes.
Dog, what do you remember about this story, and where is it going?
I remember if Naomi didn't show up, we were going to have Uso. Who's that?
Flattened Uso.
Who was that one? What was the dude's name out in L.A. that smashed the watermelons?
Gallagher.
Gallagher. gonna have a Uso Gallagher show with their brains being the friggin' watermelon. No, I remember we were trying to get the Bludgeon Brothers started and trying to show that Uso has a wife, and you know what I mean. Like it was a bunch of different thoughts going on then, and we had just debuted the Bludgeon Brothers, and so we were going to continue to try to push them, and this was a way to do that. When the Usos were kind of baby faces, these guys came in and killed them. You know what I mean? And look, a lot of the stuff we did was simply because the Observer expected us to do one thing. And I'm not saying we went, what do they think? I'm just saying that's the first thing we think of too. So now what are we going to do? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like we all come up with this genius idea that everybody in the world knows, by the way, because you've seen the Roadrunner cartoon before. so you know what I mean? And so it's all in perspective and how you're going to take it.
Samoa Joe beat Sin Cara with a choke in a minute 32. Joe did an interview talking about Orton, Bryan, and Styles. He said that he would put Reigns out to pasture for good, and the crowd cheered him for that. He said that he was going to win the title in Saudi Arabia, and if Reigns beats Lesnar, he would beat Reigns and bring the Universal title to SmackDown.
Whoa.
Dog, when you look back on it, was there more to Samoa Joe?
100%. Look, I think Samoa Joe's money, any way you look at it. Like he's a great promo. I believe every word he says. He's well spoken. He's a big tank of a man. Yeah. He can fly around like a bumblebee. He shouldn't be able to, but he can. And so it's just incredible how much money is left on the table with Samoa Joe. And look, I don't know how he's doing now or whatever, but I just think from our company and me working with him, man, there was a lot left on the table with Samoa Joe.
Let's talk about this. We mentioned them earlier. Sanity got called up for you. When they did get called up, Nikki Cross does not come with them. That was Killian Dane, Sawyer Fulton, big stable. But do you know why Nikki didn't come at that time? Do you remember anything?
Look, I always think about stuff like this, and you have to look at it from a business standpoint. Is how many people am I going to bring up that I have to send on the road every live event? Do I have to buy 4 tickets? Do I have to buy 6? Do I just buy 2 that are working? You know what I mean? So it's always like a bigger, like for the viewer, that feels funny. Like, oh, they came up and she didn't. Yeah. But so much thinking went into that before that decision was made. It was all weighed out in monies and dollars and cents because it's a business. And so you gotta think about that stuff before you just make those decisions. It was decided that she won't come up now. She'll come up later on her own in the women's division. So I think she showed up later with them or something, and that went for a minute, and then you know, he wanted to go in a different direction. So I loved Big Damo. Eric Young, huge fan of EY, friend as well. Like
Alexander Wolf.
Yeah, just couldn't be happier with all those guys. It just didn't work out, and that's not their fault.
Big Cass gets elevated into a spot working against Daniel Bryan and being programmed with him. How excited were you to get someone like Cass? He's got youth, he's got size, and he's going in with Daniel Bryan, who you know is always going to bring it. There they are together.
It's a great picture of the IIconics.
Please throw that back up, and we say that's Big Cass and Daniel Bryan.
I'm going to tell my kids this was Big Cass and Daniel Bryan. If you're watching on YouTube, it showed the IIconics.
It was the IIconics.
If not, none of that was funny. Right there's a picture of Big Cass's boot right in Daniel Bryan's
that's
mush.
a big leg.
Yeah, that's a big, long leg and a big foot kicking Daniel right in the face. Don't listen to me. I'm just a friggin' doctor. But yeah, I was excited to have him. You know what I mean? But look, Big Cass. Look, I'll tell you this much. I'd rather have Big Cass today than back then. He's grown a lot. He's a different dude now. He's just come so far since this time we're talking about right now as a human being. He's grown so much and really become the kind of dude I would have loved to have on my roster. So kudos to him for doing the right thing.
You know, maybe tough to answer because hindsight's going to be whatever they say, 50, 20, 20, 50, 50,
40,
I don't
40,
remember.
30.
But do you think Cass was ready for it?
Well, no, apparently he wasn't. And look, that's not a dig on him or anything. That's just a fact. And the same can be said for Drew McIntyre, who also got a big opportunity and kind of lost his way in the midst of it and had to go away and find himself a little bit and come back. Jinder Mahal did the same thing. I think, like I said, I'd love to have Big Cass now on my roster because he's got his head set and he's doing the right things, man.
From the next SmackDown, SmackDown opened with Miz out. He said he would win the IC title back at the Rumble and that Bryan holds a grudge against him from what happened years ago on Talking Smack because he told Bryan the truth to his face. He went on and on about his daughter. The one good thing is that everyone knows his daughter's name. He said that once his daughter was born, all of his anger and bitterness at Bryan melted away. He doesn't understand how when Birdie was born that the same thing didn't happen with Bryan. Miz said that when his daughter was born, he knew he had to change, and he's now a better man. He said that he and Bryan are both master in-ring technicians.
Yes.
He then called out Bryan. Bryan never came out. Finally, Cass came out. Cass said that he got cleared the same day as Bryan, but everybody was talking about Bryan, and nobody was talking about him. So Miz yelled at him, and Cass got up and threatened to shut Miz's mouth. He did this speech about how Bryan reminded him of himself when he was young, a little guy, and he despises him. Cass said that he didn't have to work bingo halls, Indies, Japan, or Europe because he's tall, educated, and good-looking, and that makes him a star. He said he was going to make sure Bryan winds up beaten, battered, bruised, and retired. Man, this is some strong creative here, dog.
Hey, and apparently he despises Bryan. Wow.
I'm picking up that feeling.
Yeah. It was, but look, I think it was going to be good. I think it was all for the right reasons. I just think it was at the right time. And the universe kind of lets you know that when that kind of thing happens. Like I said, I think it was for reasons that were unbeknownst to him, and kind of he was in the middle of some personal stuff. He's grown a great deal as a human and as a wrestler and as an athlete. Like, he looks so friggin' good now. I just can't reiterate enough how happy I am with his progress.
As we see, this is technically a segment between Miz and Cass.
Yeah.
Is Bryan involved creatively in this at all, or is it just the other two guys?
Yeah, most likely it's just the other two guys. And Bryan knows what's going on, and he was probably there when we did it and everything. But I don't... If he would have had feedback, we would have listened to him. If it was good and worked, we would have let him do it. But 9 times out of 10, especially if he wasn't in the segment, he would kind of just be on the sidelines, you know.
Let's continue from the Observer. Benjamin pinned Orton in 8 minutes and 16 seconds. So this is weird. He says the announcers talked about how Benjamin was having a rematch with Jeff Hardy. Benjamin was in the ring and Hardy came out. As he got halfway down the aisle, Orton's music played. Orton walked past him and got in the ring. So I guess the new thing is that if you want a match, you can just have him play your music second and it becomes your match. Hardy stayed at ringside. They pushed that Orton and Benjamin both stayed out together in Louisville, and how Benjamin was so impressed by Orton's perfect timing of his drop kick. They even referenced the Danny Davis Arena in Shepherdsville Road, which is weird since WWE broke ties with OVW and Davis a long time ago. At one point, Orton stared down Hardy on the floor and gave Benjamin a back suplex to the announcer's table. Then a guy wearing a mask, who was clearly Samil Singh, chop blocked Hardy. He unmasked. Orton then hit Singh with an RKO, but this allowed Benjamin to hit Orton with the pay dirt for the pin. When it was over, it appeared they were going to do a 3-way program for Backlash with Hardy, Orton, and Benjamin, or at least Hardy versus Orton. Talk me through this, dog. Where are we going with all that?
I don't know. It sounds like it's awesome.
It was chaos in 8 minutes.
It was chaos. That's what, like, if you think back about one segment of the Attitude Era, that was on Prozac compared to what the Attitude Era was. The Attitude Era, there was like 9 more people would have been involved. and there would have been a motorcycle. And so, but because Randy Orton walked past him, oh my God, is that a like?
Just
I
play
guess
your
now,
music second. It's your match now.
Now you gotta. That's my point is about. It's professional wrestling. Like there is no rule book. There is no science to it. You can do whatever you want. And on that night, we wanted to do that. Like, you know what I mean? And Randy walked past him and wait, what's going on here? And Randy got in the ring and, oh, is he doing it now? Like, ding, ding, ding. Holy crap. Nobody knows what's going on. And you get in, like, I don't know. I choose not to look at it so in such a negative just judgmental. Like it's very judgmental on the negative all the time. And I just think, man, I don't know. There's a lot of positives to that in my mind. There's some ships crossing in the night between Orton and Jeff Hardy. I don't know. That sounds pretty cool to me. Like, I don't know what's going on. And Shelton Benjamin's in the ring. And holy crap, he's great. I remember him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It sounded really cool when you read it to me.
And the way he wrote it, he made it seem like from now on, anybody just plays their music second, and like it was going to open the floodgates.
Yeah, now everybody's going to do that.
Well, now that's just the
because
thing.
we're going to write next week's too, and we're not going to let them do it either. And so it's but it just goes. I just want people to just look at it for entertainment, and if it's not any good, then and you're not entertained by it, then I don't know, man. Watch something different. You know what I mean? Like find something that makes your life happier and do that. But it's hard work to dig through the good stuff to bring up the negative stuff. You know what I mean? Why don't we just talk about all the cool stuff?
Are you in gorilla position at this time during the? What are you doing? Not of.
So we're talking about what are we talking about here? Greatest Royal Rumble?
This was from the next SmackDown.
Oh. So yes, I would have been in Gorilla.
Okay. Are you in the announcer's headsets?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm sitting next to someone who is in the announcer's headsets. I can talk to the announcers, but
you just didn't.
I don't unless I have to tell them something storyline wise or you know what I mean, if I have to feed them something. 9 times out of 10 I would feed somebody like Corey Graves a joke and then see if he would laugh on the air.
Do you remember the line about, hey, we're bringing up OVW after we've just cut ties with the arena? I mean, is that just them really overthinking this?
100%.
Okay.
Like I honestly have no idea what they're talking about. And I guess it's cool if you know that information, but to what avail? Like if you knew that information, would you have not bought a ticket to that show? Because or if you found out, would you not go back? Or if I don't understand what that knowledge
you cut ties so you act like it's never happened. Yeah, that's what they're wanting you to do is go cut ties so you never mention them ever again.
Yeah, and then if you say that too, you get criticism for that too. Like, oh, now they act like you never existed. Right. You know what I mean? And so it's one of those things where you have the luxury of watching and critiquing. You don't have the luxury of producing. You get to watch and critique. You don't actually have to do the work of making something from nothing. You know what I mean? Because something from a nothing leaves from nothing. Sorry. You got
better than and I want a man for me. From the Observer. Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler had previously been announced as the announcers for Friday's Greatest Royal Rumble, but things have changed and they've been moved to the pre-show with no matches to call with Booker T, and they are using the regular announcing teams. Dog, do you remember anything about this decision?
I think that probably went with Jericho and Rusev's deal. They were just all juggling travel. And so I honestly don't have any idea. Like I didn't go to that show, so I don't know what happened at it.
Dog, all right. As we move forward, was this your first time in Saudi Arabia?
It was not. I was not there during this time. I was there during '91 for a period of time.
So you didn't make the trip to you were not in Saudi for the Greatest Royal Rumble.
I was not.
But you were wearing green the first time you went.
I was. Well, it was more of a desert cami color.
There we go.
Camo.
On what's the longest flight you ever been on? Because I imagine long flight to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, so that was definitely the longest flight I ever been on, but only because we flew in a C-130. And if you ever seen the back of one of those, it's basically just cargo nets in the shape of seats that are a 90-degree angle of cargo net that you sit in for 22 hours. So that was definitely the longest, most uncomfortable one I've ever been on. The next time I went to Australia was a long one, but I sat first class, so I didn't. It wasn't too bad compared.
Was that for work? Was that for wrestling related?
Yeah. That
Are you doing work on that plane? Is everybody resting? I mean,
yeah, you're just resting till you get there, and we were the grunts, so it was, if my weapon was clean, I was done working. You know what I mean? You just point at those people.
Oh wait, we need a new shirt instead of Desert Storm, Dessert Storm, and the camo is a stain where we've spilled something.
It's just tomato sauce.
It's just stains instead of actual camo. Dessert Storm. That's where we attack, baby.
Oh, I love it.
Let's take just a second to tell you about Fight Plus. It is the ultimate digital platform for live sports and entertainment, and they are now offering a free 7-day trial at tryfight.com.
Wait, how much is it for the 7-day trial?
Free. F-R.
Oh, it doesn't cost anything.
E-E.
Oh,
Yep.
It's costs nothing at all to try it for free for 7 days.
Zero.
Okay, cool. Please
Fight
go on.
TV is packed with a premium live event schedule, over 1,000 hours of live action every year, and a library of over 4,000 hours on demand, plus exclusive content. Hey, for you bingers, try catching up on 4,000 hours. That's not going to happen. Plus the 1,000 hours of live action on top of it.
Yeah.
That means it is a great deal. Fight is a great partners of ours, and they support us, so let's support them. Give that
Amen.
free 7-day trial a try, and you'll be a member for life. I am a subscriber for Fight Plus, and I love every second of it.
Oh, they make you subscribe to it?
Yeah.
That's funny. They gave it to me. Anyway, go ahead, though.
All right. Well, I should have went to tryfight.com, tryfite.com, and we thank Fight Plus for helping us out here at Oh You Didn't Know.
You're going to love it. And you're going to thank us.
Let's get to the greatest Royal Rumble ever card. Are you ready, y'all?
I'm ready.
Well, here's a heck of a curtain jerker. Triple H versus John Cena.
Yeah, how about that?
Off.
How about them little? How about that little cracker?
Triple H walked to the ring without any special fanfare. Cole said Cena and Triple H asked to be in the opening match so they could have the honor of being the first match in this historic setting. Cena came out onto the stage with lots of kids dressed in his merchandise. For the finish, Cena went into the "You Can't See Me" routine again. Cena then hit the double A for the very near fall. The crowd popped, thinking it was the finish, then showed kids in the crowd reacting with shock and excitement. Cena went for another AA, but Hunter countered with a pedigree for a believable near fall. Cena followed up with an STF. Hunter countered on a cross-face mid-ring, which you saw in that picture.
Yep.
Cena stood while in the hold and delivered an AA. He catapulted Hunter into the corner and then hit another double A for the win. Winner, Cena in 16 minutes, 2 stars.
2 stars?
Yeah, for all that.
That's a big match, John. Come on. That sounded awesome to me.
I love he's got believable near falls. The crowd's popping.
And he said beforehand, it was a decent near fall before that. Then he said there was a believable. I love it when it's just a pet peeve of mine when people that never wrestled talk like that. And that's me being an a-hole, and I'm sorry, but it just irks me. You never wrestled, but yet you got that criticism for me. That's like me saying, you know what, I'm really better than everybody at being a wrestling journalist. I'm the best wrestling journalist in the world.
And you're telling somebody else they're a decent journalist.
You're okay at it.
Cena would say afterwards, what an honor and a privilege it is to be allowed to be a part of an event like today. Yes, allowed is the key word in parentheses, according to the Observer. He said regardless of what is going on in his universe, he wouldn't miss this event for anything in the world. He thanked the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for its unmatched hospitality that extends beyond this evening. He told them to enjoy the rest of the night and drop the mic. Cole said it is indeed an honor and a privilege to be there. Dog, I joked about it being a hell of a curtain jerker, but having Cena and Hunter open, is this a Vince decision? Do you remember? I know with these two, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Is that the thinking about it?
Well, I mean, I too love, in my philosophy, is starting off big. I love grabbing the people right at the beginning. On live events, I like to send out like a huge star first. You know what I mean? And you go like, holy crap, I can't believe they're here already. You know what I mean? And so it just really gets their attention. So I think I think it was a smart choice. I think it might have been actually John's decision, because some talent have it like that. And, you know, the truth is you do have first whack at it, man. So get out there and give me your stuff, and you don't have to follow anything. We can just take our time, have our slow match, because Hunter's a part-timer. John was a part-timer at this point too. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have to go out there and recreate the wheel. Let's just go out there and have our match, and then everybody else can try to follow that. You know what I mean? And if you do with your ring work, kudos to you, but nobody will notice.
Well, here we go. Having to follow that, the unfortunate spot. Cedric Alexander and Kalisto for the Cruiserweight title match. Cedric and Kalisto battle on the top rope. Kalisto came out with the flip power move for a near fall. The crowd wasn't responding nearly as much to these near falls and big moves as they did with Triple H and Cena. Cedric hit a lumbar check to counter the Salida del Sol for the win. Yeah. Winner, Alexander, in 11 minutes to retain the Cruiserweight Championship. By the way, 2 1/4 stars. So technically, they beat.
Well, that's my point in a nutshell. This is me in a nutshell. Help, let me out of this huge nutshell. But that's my point. Is so the first match that was great and had everybody popping on believable false finishes and your words, not mine. All of this great stuff, 2 stars. This other match where they do flippy flop and the fly, but they're not John Cena. And they're not Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
And the crowd wasn't responding nearly as much.
But because of their wrestling only, because of their move set, because of their willingness to dare to fly, they get a higher vote with the star category. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And it shouldn't make any sense to anybody all over the world who's listening. And I realize it's just me and you talking to one another. But you listen to me, damn it. It's crazy to me that so, but I guess you can't be a wrestler, so you just, I don't know. I'm going to say things that are going to get me in trouble here. I apologize.
Let's keep going. Matt Hardy.
I'm going to back up.
Matt, we touched on this one in the past. Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt versus The Bar for the WWE Raw Tag Team Championship. I was a big fan of The Bar.
Me too.
Cole said Sheamus and Cesaro part of SmackDown Live at this point, but would return to Raw if they win this match. Cole said he's not sure if the Saudi Arabian fans are sure what to make of the leader of worlds. Byron said, count me in on that. And Graves said it's a long process, but everyone will eventually understand everything except for you, Byron. Graves said Bray was freed of Sister Abigail, who was a wicked succubus. Cole wondered if Bray's finisher is still called Sister Abigail then. Bray did the crab walk and then hit Sheamus with the Sister Abigail. He then tagged in Matt, who gave Sheamus an elevated twist of fate with Bray for the win. Winners, Hardy and Wyatt in 9 minutes. 1 1/4 star here.
Yeah.
This finish makes sense. Were you happy to Cesaro and Sheamus over on SmackDown? You got to be happy to have those guys.
Yeah, very happy to have them. I mean, look, they're the hardest working gentlemen in showbiz, and that's not even joking. You know what I mean? Sheamus is still, I don't even know how old Sheamus and Cesaro are, but still going as hard as they ever went, and as stiff as ever too. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Kudos to those two guys, man. But yeah, I was very happy to have them on SmackDown.
Well, let me ask you this, because the chatter among fans, I would say, or online, is Vince it's always been said that he's not a big fan of tag teams. Have you ever found that to be true?
No, I haven't, and I've heard that a lot. And the truth be told is, he looks at it from so Vince doesn't just run the company. He knows every single job in the company and can do every single job in the company. So he looks at it from not the booker, promoter, owner. Like, he's not looking at just 30,000 feet from down. He's looking at the ground level stuff too. And so he always thought about airline tickets, hotels. What do I gotta, if it's a team, I gotta double that immediately. So I immediately double my, and they got to wrestle another team. So now I've quadrupled it. You know what I mean? So it's always been a business thing with him. And I think people read that as he doesn't like tag teams. I mean, I beg to differ. I think he's had some very successful tag teams under his tutelage and on his watch. And so I think you can just go through history and kind of find out that that's obviously not the truth. You know what I mean? I just think there's other reasons that he, I don't want to say looks negatively on tag teams, because I don't think that's the way it is. I think he looks negatively on spending money.
Yeah, so if he had a slide against him, it was business side, not creative
business. I honestly believe that. I've seen, myself included, and I've seen other tag teams be promoted and pushed and gladly. And, New Day didn't get to be millionaires because he hated tag teams. You know what I'm saying?
When you found yourself producing, writing, booking, whatever the case may be, do you enjoy working with tag teams more because you've got that great success on your resume? Or is it all, hey, I've got to focus on every single match?
Yeah. Well, look, if I had to produce a match, and because there's so many layers to this, like if I had to produce the match, I'd rather produce a tag match, because I feel like I've got a better grasp of the psychology and the working and the comeback and the heat and hope spots. And I just feel like I got a good grasp on tag team wrestling. I was never over enough as a singles to really know whether I had a grasp on singles competition or not. Of course, now I would be better than I was then, just because I know a lot more than I did then. But if I was producing a match, I would rather it be a tag match. If I'm writing a story or writing the television show, I am looking at the whole deal, and I'll let the producer worry about how he executes the actual match. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I may give them suggestions in the meeting. I may go, hey, I had an idea about they did this and this, and if that's cool, everybody kind of likes it, they go with that, but then add their stuff. And so it's just, depends on what position I'm playing as to who I like playing with the most.
Next up on the card, Jeff Hardy and Jinder Mahal with Sunil Singh for the U.S. title. The crowd booed when he introduced Singh from the stage. Jinder told Cole that he is the hometown wrestler because his hometown is only 2,300 miles away, whereas Cameron, North Carolina, where Hardy is from, is 6,800 miles away.
So
that's
common sense.
You can't argue with those numbers. Math is math.
You see
So
what I'm
good.
saying? Like,
So
look,
good.
that's classic, and that's vintage Observer, where they put more time and effort into what Graves said than the actual combat, or But that's hilarious. You know what I mean? And Graves is so good at what he does, and so it's.
And as
just
we know now, you sent him that joke. That's
Well,
what you told us
I didn't
earlier.
send him that one, but chances are I sent him a few to where you went like, did he really just say that?
Hardy avoided a gutbuster and made a comeback and scored a near fall. At one point, Jinder moved out of the path of a Hardy top rope move, but then oddly stood up and took a phantom flatback bump. Announcers tried to cover for it, saying the ring shook and threw him off balance.
That happens in Saudi. The ground shakes a lot.
It's the first time they had a ring up. You never know.
You don't know. You don't know what happens over there
Sunil
with the topography.
It's sand. It can move, right?
It moves. Sand dunes move from day to day, so it's hard to navigate out there.
Sunil distracted Hardy, giving Jinder an opening. He rolled up Hardy with a yank on his jeans for a near fall.
Oh.
Hardy fired back with a twist of fate. Jinder shifted into perfect position for the Swanton Bomb, but otherwise couldn't move as Hardy climbed to the top and landed it.
See, that was another jab. That was another jab at the wrestlers.
Got in the perfect position, but
he
otherwise
took the bump and got in, shifted into position. Other than that, he couldn't move for the okay, we get it. Thank you, Carl Gotch, and friggin' Bruno Sammartino for your dynamite drop-ins.
By the way, here we go. Hardy stood and applauded mid-ring as he celebrated and soaked up some cheers from the fans. Hardy retains the U.S. title in 6 minutes, 1.25 star for this.
Yeah, that was horrible. Just horrible wrestling.
It's because Jinder hit everything perfectly.
If that damn earthquake hadn't happened right then, it would have been 5 stars.
Here, let me ask this, and this is, of course, the American point of view.
Yeah.
Kind of in my head, I feel like Jinder winning here would have been a big deal in the Middle East. But do you think that was ever even talked about? Are we going that deep into it?
We didn't go that deep into it. And the reason being is look, domestically you're doing this TV show every week and you're running some towns and you only go there once a year, once every 6 months whatsoever. So you're kind of leaving things open-ended there and starting back on your domestic run as quickly as you can. You know what I mean? Right. So it's you're not technically going to book from show to show
based on location,
based on Saudi, you know what I mean? Yeah. You're gonna run your show and run your stories, and look, I'm not saying decisions like that haven't been made before. I'm just saying in this instance, we didn't get into thinking that much about
Fifth match on the card: the Bludgeon Brothers versus the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team title. The Bludgeon Brothers went on early offense. Jimmy made a comeback and dove through the ropes onto both brothers. He scored a 2 count in the ring against Luke Harper seconds later. Jimmy ducked a Harper lariat and landed a kick and then a hip attack in the corner. Harper no-sold it and charged into Jimmy in the other corner. Jimmy tagged Jay. They double-teamed Harper. Jay landed a frog splash on Harper's face for a near fall. They went for a double splash off the opposite corners, but Rowan yanked Jimmy off the top rope.
He jerked him what?
Off the top rope.
Never mind.
That's a weird angle. Harper took over during the distraction and tagged in Rowan. He slapped Rowan to get him hyped up. They delivered their double team powerbomb finisher for the win. Graves said he's wondering if they can be stopped. Bludgeon Brothers win in 5 minutes. 1.25 star.
Hey, it don't take them long.
What was Vince's thoughts on this gimmick? Because, of course, from our side, it's always been said Vince loves the big dudes killing people.
Yeah, well, look, who doesn't? You know what I mean?
What is it? Big meat smacking big meat?
Yeah, big meat smacking against big meat. Like it's as old as I remember the first thing I loved about wrestling on Georgia Championship Wrestling, and I'm going back, was the Road Warriors coming there from AWA, I guess, but they didn't have a match for 6 months. Every time they would come up with people in the ring, and the Road Warriors would just hit the ring and beat the crap out of them and throw them out of the ring. And it was just oh my God, that. It was just the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And so I think the thing still works today. You get some big old dudes that can do it and move and look believable, and they beat the crap out of everybody. Now, from a promotability and a writing standpoint, that's cool. But like I said before, I feel like you write yourself into a bit of a corner if these guys have no vulnerability and can't be beaten. You know what I mean? If they're Jason Voorhees, I'm not going to see Jason versus, Rene Russo in a lumberjack match. I'm just not doing that.
Seth Rollins versus Samoa Joe and The Miz and Finn Balor. Ladder match for the Intercontinental title. For the finish, Miz knocked Seth off the ring apron and with a shove to the ladder. Balor then knocked Miz into the ladder and landed the coup de grace.
Yes,
as my dad would call it.
Coup de grace.
Yep.
Yeah.
On Miz. Miz rolled to the floor and left Balor in the ring alone. He set up the ladder and climbed. Joe ran and yanked Balor off the ladder. Balor landed the Pele kick. Joe came back seconds later with the Coquina clutch.
Coquina colada.
Balor countered and looked up at the IC belt again. Joe gave Balor the urinage later.
The uranagi.
Is that Pete on it?
Uranagi.
Uranagi. Okay.
Uranagi.
He eyed the ladder, then climbed it,
Do you know what that move is?
It's where you pee on a motorcycle. It's urinage.
It's urinage. No, it's where, remember, like Joe goes into the buckle and a dude charges him, but he hooks him in what almost looks like a rock bottom and then just actually throws him through the rope.
So good,
It's definitely like a FU slam. Like, yeah, I don't care about your well-being or your family.
It looks amazing. Balor stood, tipped the ladder over, knocking Joe onto the top rope. Joe rolled to the floor. Cole said this could be Balor's night. Balor climbed the ladder, but Seth leaped onto the ladder from the top rope and quickly grabbed the belt in a sudden sequence. Seth, in 15 minutes, 3.5 stars.
3.5. Hey, we're getting up there. I wonder if, that was an awesome match too, by the way.
Incredible match. People at the time were wondering how Miz can hang in this scenario. I thought he did it pretty damn well, dog.
He does it. He does it really well every single time.
Yeah.
People go like, oh, he can't work like Finn Balor and Seth Rollins. No, he can't. But he can do everything else. And so if everybody can work the same, then I feel like everything's the same and wrestling sucks. But we all have our strengths and our weaknesses, and I think he has so many strengths that it's okay to overlook his one weakness that really doesn't matter in this industry, and that's his wrestling ability. I think we've all proven that with every champion we've ever had. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what's important here.
They then on the show they would show the prospects from the tryouts that they held in Saudi Arabia. All of a sudden, Sean and Araya Daivari would come out and interrupt, and then get beat up by the trainees. And one of them, Mansour, is on the roster now. Dog,
Yep.
Where did the idea of the Daivaris coming out for this? And did you see something in Mansour this early on?
Yeah, look, I think everybody who saw Mansour try out and everything was super impressed with him. The guy is really good at wrestling, but he's also really good at character stuff. The stuff he's doing right now with the male models is incredible. They were both like two of my favorite guys down there because, I don't know, they just really were humble and wanted it, and they still to this day will text me and go, hey, did you see our match? What did you know what I mean? They're still trying to get better, and I tell them, I don't care about your match, man. To me, the thing that gets me is when they go to interview you and then Brennan Williams puts his leg way up on the wall and right behind. I don't know if you saw that, but that's the funny. I don't even know what they said. I don't care what they said. It made me laugh out loud at these wrestlers on TV, and that was entertaining to me. And so, I've got enough guys that are trying to get 5 stars. I need a couple guys that are willing to be the butt of the joke and happy to be so. And that's what those guys are. And those kind of guys tend to stay around a while. So, look for them to do bigger and better things in the future for sure.
Next up, AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, the WWE title match. At the finish, Styles springboarded at Nakamura, but Nakamura ducked and Styles almost hit the ref. Nakamura then gave Styles a low blow. Styles grabbed the bottom rope to stop the count on Nakamura's cover. Nakamura went for the Kinshasa against, but Styles popped up with a forearm. Nakamura rolled to the floor. Styles went after him at ringside seconds later. He charged and tackled Nakamura into the Saudi Arabia announce table. They continued to fight and got counted out. The crowd booed the finish.
Yeah, they should have.
Graves said this is so deeply personal. Styles wants to settle the score. Saxton said Styles just wants to hurt Nakamura. Styles tackled Nakamura over the barricade into the timekeeper's area. Styles then hit Nakamura with a chair. He retains the title in 15 minutes after fighting Nakamura to the double countout.
Yeah.
3 stars. Was this better than the WrestleMania match, dog?
I think it was.
Okay.
I think it was, and I think, and I bring this is my own fault, and I say this every time. Those two guys are incredible workers, and what they do together is magical. I myself propped it up too much for the Mania match. Now I had brought myself back to reality and realized and appreciated the greatness into which they were performing. You know what I mean? Like now it was almost like, oh, okay, they're not, angels of Bruno and whoever. It's just two guys that are going to have a great wrestling match. So just watch it and appreciate it. And so that, to me, that was on me. But yeah, I thought it was better than the Mania match.
What about the thinking of you could have done the heel turn before the match to help the Mania story?
Yeah, I mean, look, you coulda, shoulda, woulda, a million things, but like I think sometimes you don't know what you're getting into before you get into it, and I think that happens a lot more than you'd like to think in the professional wrestling world. But sometimes something's catching on, and you don't even realize it until it's caught on, and you go, "Holy crap, what are we going to do with this?" And one common example I'll use is the Rusev Day thing. Like we dropped the ball on that, and that was on my watch, so that's on me, and that's a thing I can think about going forward and cry myself to sleep at night because the melatonin stopped working. No, but like that's an honest thing. Like I feel like that caught on organically, and we didn't capitalize on it, and so that's on me. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of the times things catch on and they do run with it, and dare I say the bloodline storyline. You know what I mean, for the past year.
Let's go into Rusev Day because that's the next match. Undertaker versus Rusev with Ed English for the casket match.
Yeah.
This is a great intro. English staying on the stage as he introduced Rusev. Graves asked Saxton when was the last time the Undertaker won a casket match on Rusev Day. And Saxton said he would not dignify that
with a response.
As Taker walked out, Cole said no matter what continent he haunts, the reaction is the same.
It's the same. It's the
truth. He
truth,
called him the
too,
most
man.
awe-inspiring superstar in WWE history. Let's go to the end. Rusev caught Taker with a round kick as Taker walked toward him to the ring. He kicked and stomped Taker. Taker came back with a punch that dropped Rusev. Then he delivered a headbutt. Rusev came back with a spinning wheel kick to the head. I think that's what we just saw.
Yeah.
Rusev then applied an accolade mid-ring. Taker appeared to be out, so Rusev released it. Then Taker sat up and went for a choke slam. Rusev slipped out of it. They exchanged punches, and Taker came out ahead and then choke slammed Rusev. He put Rusev in the casket again, but English ran in and distracted Taker from closing the lid. Taker then choke slammed English and gave him a tombstone and a pile driver and put him in the casket and closed the lid to win. Pyro blasted as Taker celebrated. Taker in 10 minutes, 2.25 stars.
Yeah, 2.25.
Hey, Rusev, looking back now, Rusev was the perfect person for this instead of Jericho, right?
100%. And look, I actually think from a talent standpoint, if I was Undertaker, I'd want to work with Rusev. And it's not that Chris isn't great at what he does. It's just Rusev, I'm looking at it from Mark's point of view at Mark's present age. I'd rather work with Rusev. Rusev is a dream come true. Like if I was a babyface, Road Dogg, Jarhead Road Dogg versus Rusev, man, I would have given anything to have that storyline in a flag match or some stuff like he did with Jack Swagger. Like I felt like, if I could be in there, I'd be loving this. We talked about burning a flag on TV and all kind of stuff. But look, I think Rusev was the perfect opponent, especially for Mark at this time in his life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when I said that and asked you that, I meant it not as more of a knock on Jericho.
Oh, yeah.
Rusev is over here. Like we've mentioned, Rusev Day is over.
Yep.
And like you said, he's the menacing heel. He's the perfect guy for that particular match at that point in time.
Yeah, I agree. And I was happy to see it.
Next up, Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman versus Roman Reigns for the WWE Universal title match. At the finish, Heyman slid a chair into the ring. Lesnar picked it up and swung, but Reigns speared him for a fourth time for another near fall. Cole said Lesnar has hit 4 German suplexes and 2 F5s. And Reigns has hit 4 spears, and they're still fighting. Reigns stood and bashed Lesnar across his back with a series of chair shots. Reigns hit another Superman punch and then speared Lesnar again, and they both went through the wall of the cage. Lesnar landed first on his back, so he was declared the winner. As Cole lamented the rules, Graves said those are the rules, and everyone knew them. Cole called it a freaky accident. Lesnar in 9 minutes to retain the WWE Universal title. 2 stars. First of all, let's talk about the particular finish. Yeah. loved it and thought it was a cool twist.
I love it too. I mean, I'm not gonna. I thought it looked awesome. It looked like an accident. Like it looked like they weren't supposed to go through there. It totally. I loved it. I loved it in concept, and I loved it in execution. So, I don't know if that's controversial, then so be it.
Let's talk about their series as a whole between these two men. Do you think their series of matches, Brock and Roman, you think this was helpful to both of them?
Well, to be quite honest, I don't think it was ever meant to be that helpful for Brock. Brock is Brock, and Brock's going to bring to the table what Brock brings to the table, and that means physicality as well as promotability and all of the above. So I think it's all about building Roman through the whole series, and I think the series, I think the success of Roman today speaks to the success of the series.
The greatest Royal Rumble is next. 50 men, dog.
50 men.
We've alluded to it. 30 wrestlers is a tough card to fill out.
Yeah.
How's adding 20 more? Almost an entire other roster.
Yeah, it's incredibly difficult. But it really leans to the it lends to the producers and the talent to the amount of or to the ability they have, to the professionalism they have, to the fact that they could go out there in this stadium with 50 guys and keep it a coherent story being told, and people going out at the right time, and who's next, and who, from a television standpoint, it's a rat race too. And so it's fun and exhilarating, but it's very difficult, and it speaks volumes to how good the producers and the talent are, that they can go out there and do that with very little communication. You know what I mean? Like, they might have talked that day or the day before or something. You know what I mean? And so it's 50 guys out there with 50 egos and 50 mindsets, and you know what I mean, 50 psychologies, and so it's tricky to say the least.
Well, let's hit just a couple of the moments before we get to the ending. The story of having Daniel Bryan start and go for over an hour. Yeah. That is quite a decision for someone who hasn't wrestled in such a long time. Is this Bryan's idea? I'm sure he's up for the challenge. How do you remember this coming together?
Yeah, he was definitely up for the challenge. And look, it's just thinking about, and I don't remember who the producers were. I can imagine Jamie Noble being one of them, and I can imagine him thinking, Daniel, you just came back, you're doing all this, man. What if you stayed in? Daniel, of course, had to say, okay, cool, I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or they would have probably done something else. But like, you think about stuff like that when you're putting that match together. You think about the moments and the spots in there. Like, okay, they're going to remember who won, but what about when number 27 came in? Like, what are we going to do to make them remember that moment? And so it's difficult, but it's fun and challenging, and definitely while it's going, all the producers who produced it are standing up there going, "Come on, do this, do that." But it's fun. It's you're in the line of fire, and that's fun.
Also, Hornswoggle would even appear, helping to eliminate Dash Wilder. Always fun to get a Hornswoggle sighting. And we can't forget the Titus O'Neil entrance, dog.
Oh, there it was. The Titus O'Neil entrance from the greatest Royal Rumble was the greatest entrance ever. And look, truth be told, I didn't think that was funny at all because it scared me so bad.
It looked scary.
I know what is 1 inch above his head when he is sliding, running at full speed. He 1 inch above, and he breaks his neck. And there's no two ways about it. He's got a broken neck if he's an inch higher than he was, and probably a cracked skull too, because it is a metal bar under there that is not forgiving, and he would have just. It's like, so immediately you just go like, oh God, and then he comes out and he's okay, and you go like, oh God, yeah, it scares me so bad. When even watching it back, it scares me. I know he slides under and it still takes my breath away.
I tinker-totted.
Yeah, I tinker-totted a little, and hey, headlock takeover, head scissors.
By the way, and while we're here and we're talking about him, Titus O'Neil, one of the greatest guys I've ever had the privilege of talking to.
Well, yeah, what a great dude, and what a man. He is well known around college football, and that has come in handy several times for me. So thank you, Titus.
All right, at the finish, the final entrant was Chris Jericho, who got a huge Legacy Star pop.
Yep.
He had Christmas tree lights flashing on his vest. Jericho eliminated Shelton. Strowman saw Shane on the top rope, threw him into an announcer's table to eliminate him. About 75 minutes in, revenge for giving him the coast-to-coast earlier. Strowman then eliminated Owens and Lashley and Jericho. Bryan went after Strowman, but Strowman wouldn't budge. Cass gave Bryan a big boot and eliminated Bryan. So it came down to Cass and Strowman. They turned and stared at each other. Strowman led the fans to cheer with his arms extended. Cass clotheslined Strowman, tried to give him the big boot to knock him over the top rope, but Strowman dropped Cass over the top rope and shook it with Cass straddling it. Graves said, "If you're 7 feet tall, that still hurts." Strowman then eliminated Cass to win. He got a big pop from the crowd. 77 minutes. The announcers commented on replays of highlights from Braun's performance. Cole said Shane still hadn't moved since he landed on the announce table. All right.
I'd still be laying there.
Walk me through a little bit of this. Having Cass at the end, Strowman winning, Jericho being there, and how different the landscape of the WWE is just 5 years later.
Yeah. Well, look, Strowman's back and on top. Right. You know what I mean? Strowman's doing well. Jericho hadn't been here for a minute, but look, you bring him in there, and if he's not going to win, you let him get some people out, and then whoever's going to go over, you let him have the carrot of chunking Jericho, and then you have a heel and a good guy kind of face to face, and and then you give them the guy they want to win, so they go, oh great, and they kind of forgot that Jericho just got thrown out a few minutes ago, and you know what I mean, and Shane got pushed through a table over here, and but. You know, that's how you do it. You put it together in a way that makes sense and takes you on the ride till the last man standing, you know.
To close the show, Vince McMahon stood in the ring with Strowman and a rep from Saudi Arabia. Strowman held up the green belt and stood in front of the giant trophy. Fireworks shot off above the stadium in a glorious, massive display, and Cole signed off. Dog, what do you remember around the office? How was the buzz when everybody gets back? Are we excited, or is this a success? I'm sure it is, since we're still doing it, but what was that experience like in the office? Yeah,
look, it was just like everybody thought on the outside of the world, too, is like, this is new. What are we doing here? What is this? And look, from a financial standpoint, it was hugely successful. And so that's why you would make that deal and do it again. You know what I mean? And so, it's hugely successful. But again, and I say this a lot, but it's hard to imagine from the layperson, but when you work in the WWE, you get WrestleMania was yesterday. What are we going to do today? You know what I mean? And so it's kind of like every other show. We just did it in a different place, in a different venue, and you know what I mean, in a different country. But it's the same old circus. We got the elephant and the lion tamer, and you know what I mean, and the guy that can juggle, and so that's what we go to town and we do a show and we leave, and you go like, holy mackerel, I don't want to go back over there. It was such a long flight. Or you go, holy mackerel, I can't wait to get back over there. I love that dessert they have over there. You know what I mean, or whatever. So it's Tuesday or Sunday or whatever. It's just another day on your crazy schedule. That is the schedule of a WWE superstar, you know.
See, there you go, thinking about Dessert Storm again.
Yeah, of course I am. And I don't know if I'm going to throw this word out there and see if we get any play on it. Bunafi.
Kids, earmuffs.
I'm not sure. I think it's pronounced Bunafi, and it's a banana. It's UK centric, and we always get this dessert when we go to the UK. I don't know what it's called. I thought it was Bunafi. I could be wrong about that.
You said it again. Wow.
Yeah. I should stop probably. I should quit talking.
I don't know if that's correct.
I'm not sure either. But we're gonna look that up. We're gonna look into it. And I'm sure we have some.
Just got a text from the Secret Service. They'd like you to stop saying that immediately, please.
Obama just texted me. He said,
I think Bunafi, didn't he lead a country? Didn't we? Omar Bunafi, is that him? I forgot. What's the deal?
At the bottom, Dom says, I'm Googling and not seeing S. And I'm thinking, well, good. At least you're not pulling up a porn site or something.
I was going to say, I expected him to see something. And it was like you wouldn't be a dessert.
Yeah.
All right.
It's delicious. It
No,
was.
not- That's not what he said. We
not
can't
what I
even
said.
say that one.
Dom,
And I-
put your Ray mask back on. Give
More
yourself
lashes, Dom.
30 lashes.
All right. Let's get to some fan questions. These should be
Okay.
fun about Saudi Arabia and the greatest
It was,
Royal
it
Rumble.
was fun, yeah.
Liam Evans tweets us at Bryan, at Brian R.D. James, at the Casio Kid, at You Didn't Know Pod. Well, we've already addressed this, but I just wanted to get the question in. Were you in Saudi for the event? And if so, how was catering? You had Banafi.
I was not there. And the Banafi, I don't know how it's pronounced. It's not in Saudi. It's only in the UK. So, and look, last time I was in Saudi, the catering was horrible. They were MREs, and it tastes like sand in every bite.
All right. Mad Dad. I don't know why he's mad, but
He's hot about something.
matter of fact, it's Mad Dad 316. So he's
Look, I've been mad, and I have been a dad, and so I get it.
He says, I was always a fan of Elias. Loved the Drifter character. Even named one of my albums Tales from a Drifter, inspired by his character.
I'll be darned.
You're going to love this. Why does it seem like Rusev, like Bray, that they organically got so over, but never had that run? Hashtag bring back the Drifter. Hashtag love ya.
I like the Drifter, the Drifter character as well. I think if we would have stuck to that and been committed and consistent with that kind of Drifter psychology, I think it would have done well. I think we didn't quite understand what we had, and so we mishandled it. That's what you get a new toy and you go, and that's what we did. And so we did that several times. You brought up several of them. Thank you so much for doing that. Some of the things I cry about at night, and my failures as a creative writer in wrestling. But I always got Banafi to remember me by.
By the way, I just looked it up. It's Banafi pie.
Okay. Told you.
Banafi pie. It's a pie or tart made with toffee, bananas, and cream. Banoffee.
Banafi.
How about it's got a thick caramel sauce with a buttery biscuit base.
Oh, yeah. Did you hear that? I mean, you understand where I'm coming from now. Yeah. It's almost worth just getting a Lufthansa flight over there.
By the way, that is me to my
Oh, yeah.
I am a buttery biscuit base.
Yeah. You are based with buttery biscuits, my friend.
Alex Podcast Network hits us up. Hashtag Ask Dog. What was going to be the original winner of the Greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia? Was it always Braun Strowman as the original?
You
remember any others possible?
I don't remember any others. I know there was talk of Ray winning just because he was coming back and he's Rey Mysterio and he's the little guy lasting out. So there was talks of that. I don't know how deep that got into it. But so, yeah, no, Braun was kind of the guy we were kind of running with and pushing as a big monster. So, yeah, I think that was an idea pretty much the whole time.
Speaking of what ifs and big monsters, Brad Stanton wants to know if Almost was there, would he have been considered to win?
For sure. I think no matter what you do with Omos, no matter what happened at WrestleMania, no matter what you do, I think Omos could walk into any arena in any city in the world, and people, everybody in there will be in awe because I think he is that kind of attraction. Like he has more upside to me in my mind. And I know times are different and things are different, but than Andre, than Big Show, than all these guys, because Big Show is a great athlete. To be as big as he was, drop kicking and going to the top rope and stuff, Big Show's an incredible athlete. This guy is the same kind of athlete, like a really good athlete at that size. Like it's really uncommon and it's really cool to see. And he's really huge. You know what I mean? Like I don't even know like I didn't look at Big Show like I looked at this guy. You know what I mean? He's just so tall and so high above me. When you're standing there talking to him, I always hug almost just because I feel safe for a moment. You know what I mean? Like if for just a moment I'm rocking in a big, huge woman's arms, safe. And then I realized like it's this big, huge dude. I let go of his nipple and. Sorry.
Mini Max hit us up. Is that like a Cinemax play, or is he Max that's mini? There's a lot going on
small,
here.
Yeah, it's just a small tampon, I think.
A small.
I'm not sure. It makes me look like a stormtrooper.
I think the English word is banoffee.
Yes.
Is a small. He says, or she, I don't know. I'm assuming genders, and that's me. I apologize.
That's you,
in 2023. Minimax says, how involved was the Saudi government with creative plans? What sort of restrictions did you have to work around? I know you couldn't have women on the card. Do you remember any other restrictions you were told when putting this together?
No, it was just basically that one. And look, they had suggestions.
Any language?
Yeah, you couldn't have no curse words. So there are limitations, but look, as far as that goes, that's a courtesy, if you ask me. You know what I mean? You're just doing a common courtesy to the people of that country to not bring your American filth over to them. Having said that, like I wasn't there, I wasn't in the production of it all, but look, they had suggestions, but the deal was made very clearly, like. Creative control belongs to the WWE, and you can suggest. And so, they didn't have a whole lot of say-so, but they did make suggestions.
I can't wait to hear your answer to this. Eric Sadan says, is it true that the Saudis wanted Yokozuna, and that's why there was a random sumo entrant?
So, look, that might be the truth, because there's a story about them also asking for another person who had passed away.
That's what I'd heard too.
But I don't know if that's just, ha-ha, or if that's an actual fact. So I didn't hear those requests, so I don't know.
Then the follow-up would be, why was there a random sumo guy?
I don't know. I have
we had
no
to get
idea.
to 50 somehow. I love somebody went, hey, can we throw a sumo guy or something in there?
Do we have a sumo guy? Is there you, sir?
I'm blaming that on Johnny Russo.
Sir, you're fat. Can we? They're like, Vince, it's me. You son of a, come on. I'm right here. I got feelings,
Is that Glenn Close dressed as a lumberjack? Get him in here.
Hit Glenn's music.
Hit it. If she hits it second, it's her match. And we all know that. Brian Fuller wants to know, did you realize, well, you touched on this. Did you realize how close Titus came to breaking his neck on his tumble under the ring?
Yeah.
He said, or was it hilarious to you like it was to Vince?
Yeah. So it was not hilarious. You know what's hilarious to me is thinking about how hilarious it was to Vince.
Just to see him belly line.
That pops me. But when I saw it, it was not it was like, oh yeah, it was. I was not one of the ones that was entertained by it. I know him and I like him, so I thought, oh, he came really close to death. You know what I mean?
He had a near-death.
He had a near-death experience in Saudi Arabia.
You weren't thinking of the memes and the gifs that would come out of that forever.
No.
Luis Mendoza, can you tell me the best jokes you remember backstage about Titus falling under the ring?
I remember one that I heard, and it was, what did the shark say when he ate a clownfish? Tastes a little funny.
You said you were going to get that in, and I didn't believe you.
No, we got it in.
All right.
I don't remember any of the funny ones. Look, there was enough of them. I'm sure of that. You can find some good memes.
We did get it in, my friend. Before we get out of here, we got to get to the Thankful Minute, and we got to get to Top Dog segment. Before we do, next week, we're going to cover the next pay-per-view you guys had in 2018, Backlash. Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe in the main event.
Right.
AJ Styles and Nakamura for the WWE title in a no DQ match. And Carmella defends her title against Charlotte Flair and so much more.
So think about that card. That's an awesome card you just read off, and you only read 3 matches.
Yeah, we just did 3. So that's going to be fun to go through and talk about as well.
Yep.
We appreciate everybody for consuming this wherever it is. We hope you give us a 5-star rating, give us a like, give us a comment. Just say, hey, just wave. Get the wave emoji. We don't care what it is.
Yep.
Tell us you're here. We'll love to interact with you. If you got any comments, any feedback, any more questions, drop it where it is. And by the way, shout out to everybody that's part of the ad-free shows family that is getting to consume this early and ad-free.
Oh,
dog. How about this?
I didn't know ad-free was an actual thing. I thought it was just the name of it.
No ads, and you get it early. And by the way, over at adfreeshows.com, you get early ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts, starting at just $9. And how about this, dog? Since they're big fans of Oh You Didn't Know listeners, you now get the first week with ad-free shows free.
What? So you're telling me that on this show alone, for free, you could get 2 weeks, one of Fite TV and one of ads-free TV.
Yes.
And you don't pay a penny for it, but bet your bottom dollar after you spend those 7 days with it, you're going to come out of pocket.
Yep, you get a taste of what ad-free shows is all about. All you got to do is go to adfreeshows.com. Some of the stuff we've got going on over there lately, we've got tons of AFS live experiences. How cool will it be to sit shotgun and watch us record this podcast? Plus, you can watch some of the favorite matches alongside with your childhood heroes. Ad-free shows is making it possible with their monthly live watch-along series. How about Eric Bischoff watching Starrcade 97? Kevin Nash watching his streak-ending win versus Goldberg.
Yep.
Earl Hebner watching back Saturday night's main event.
What?
That's fun right there.
That is
You get
fun.
to watch them all live with the legends over at adfreeshows.com.
And even after that free 7 days, dog, for $9, you get all of that.
Boom.
You could OD on podcast, I think, probably. I'm not sure. Don't do that. That's probably bad.
Do you know John Filippelli?
I know his sister.
Please tell me her name.
It's Tony.
Patty Filippelli. Now, Insiders with John Filippelli, you know him. If you're an old school fan or a Something to Wrestle With listener, you've heard that name. The former WWF exec from back in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Plus a titan in the world of baseball production. He joined AFS for an all-new edition of the Insiders over at adfreeshows.com. How about this? John discusses transitioning to pro wrestling from NBC, his thoughts on Vince McMahon, helping to shape the Undertaker character, his candid thoughts on Bruce Pritchard, and hiring David Sahadi, and a ton more.
Wow,
My man was involved in everything.
He was involved in old school involvement too. He knows where some of the bodies are buried. But Zahadi's working for Impact.
How about that?
So still in the wrestling community. So some good hires there.
All right, before we get out of here, dog, we've got our segments, and we're going to start with Top Dog. That's where you tell us, are you a better sports entertainer than another sports entertainer? Are you ready, sir? You've got a winning record so far.
I'm doing all right.
Yeah. Here we go. First off, are you a better sports entertainer than Jerry Lawler?
Oh, no.
Woo!
Yeah, sorry.
Man, the myth, the king, baby.
Man, he's just got the track record. You know what I mean? Like, and right when you think he can't get over no more, he's beating up Kaufman on the Leno show and stuff or whatever, Letterman. And next thing you know, he's having a eat my foot match with Bret Hart. You know what I mean? Like he just reinvents himself continuously and continues to do that to this day. So now I gotta bow down to the king.
I saw him in the 2000s put this guy, Mance Warner, through a table. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Man, we all popped for it.
That's Lawler. That's Lawler, man. He's timeless, you know.
Incredible. I think I would have fought you if you would have said that one. Here we go. Better sports entertainer than Snoop Dogg.
Oh man, so you said sports entertainer.
Yeah.
I want to comment on that. If I were to drop a people's elbow and it looked that bad, I would have committed Harry Carey probably. The Bushido Blade, ooh, and finished it off. But yeah, I'm a better sports entertainer than Snoop Dogg.
He did punch Miz pretty good.
Yeah, it was a good shot.
Yeah.
Good shot. The people's elbow had lacked a little. Had something.
Oh, he got thrown into that.
Yeah, he did.
And
from what I understand, kind of did it willy nilly and just spitballing out there,
Sure.
in front of WrestleMania crowds. So kudos to him, man.
Well,
kudos to him. But
Shane's leg has fell off, so we were all kind of reeling.
Somebody needed to do something for the love of God.
This is just running around like, what are we doing? All right, here we go. Better sports entertainer, you or Doc Hendricks?
Oh, so
now,
look, it's Doc Hendricks, so
right.
me.
There we go.
But it's not Michael P.S. Hayes of the Freebirds, because I'm not doing that one.
No.
I'm not going up against Doot.
No,
but
just Doc Hendricks.
But I'm better than Doc Hendricks.
Okay,
yes.
That's fair. I like the
and
qualifiers
I
there.
think I'm better than Glenn Close and Rene Russo also. And I think we finished higher. They worked as the lumberjacks.
Well, I was going to say, what if Renee got on her shoulders and they did like the kids in the trench coat and did a large lumberjack?
Really big lumberjack.
Like almost as a lumberjack. Almost as a lumberjack.
His suspenders are 700 feet long.
They're bungee cords. All right, two and one on that one. I
that wasn't bad.
I like it. All right, before we get out of here, first of all, another plug. If your business targets 25 to 50-year-old men, there's no better place to advertise than right here with us on You Didn't Know. Whatever your product is, how cool would it be to have the Road Dogg talking about it?
I mean, look at these two guys. If you're watching by way of YouTube,
Look
if
how
you're
dreamy.
not watching, we look a lot better than you thought we did.
I'm looking at you real dreamy like.
That's okay. I kind of like it. Look at me. I'm kind of like, yeah, check it out. Check it out. Drink it in, kid.
Not a switch. You can't cut it off, Doc.
No. What am I supposed to do?
But look, that guy could talk about your product. You've heard us do ads for some of the same companies this entire time we've been on the air. Why?
Yeah.
Because it works. And with our super targeted audience, there's very little waste. So go to advertisewithdog.com and find out more about advertising with us here at You Didn't Know. We would love to promote your event, to promote your business, to promote your product, whatever it is. Go to advertisewithdog.com.
Come on.
All right, Dog. Before we get out of here, we're going to put 60 seconds on the clock. We're spreading positivity instead
Let's
of
do it.
negativity on social media. 60 seconds on the timer. The floor is yours.
Look, I may have gone to this one before, but this is one I go to every single day of my life. I thank God for my wife. She has been through me with it all. I thank God for my life and God for my wife. I thank God for my boy and God for my joy. I thank God for my world and God for my girls. And so I say that little thing in my head because it's the truth, man. I do think my wife has been with me through it all. And when I say through it all, I mean all. And if you hear me talk about on here how I live my life, like, man, she was right there beside me. Every time I fell down, she was there to pick me up. And so I am nothing without God, and I'm nothing without my wife. The kids are just a really cool bonus for getting to meet her. So again, I thank God for my wife, for my family, man.
Now you got grandkids in Bluey.
I got grandkids in Bluey. I'm thankful for Tui. Right on time.
You got to add that to your mantra.
Yeah.
And by the way,
not?
every time you fell down, your wife was there to pick you up. And meanwhile, my wife is pushing me down.
Yeah, she's shoving you down.
Breaking my ribs. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're not quite the breadwinner that I was, but I mean, I get what you're trying to do.
I'm a bread eater, and she's gluten free. So that's. The
I was a good breadwinner for like the year I was in DX. Ever since then, it's been up in the air whether rent will be paid or not.
All right.
But I had fun.
Man, this was a fun one. This was
a fun one. We went way over time, but we were having fun. So I thought, what the heck?
Before you leave, like, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating. Follow us on Twitter at BrianRDJames, at the Casio Kid, at You Didn't Know Pod.
Please.
And thank you for watching here on YouTube. We appreciate that.
Yep.
Like, subscribe, turn on notifications at youtube.com/DOGG. We try to have a YTX, a YouTube exclusive every single week there.
Yep.
So make sure you turn on those notifications. You'll know whenever we go live and you won't miss it. And don't forget, all merchandise found at boxofgimmicks.com, including the infamous I'm a Fergal McDivitt Guy t-shirt.
Yes.
And let's go kill Terry Funk. We can get that shirt.
I tell you what, dog, you hit me so damn hard with that chair, I thought I was going to crap myself like Tinker Todd.
Buddy, if you didn't enjoy that, we got 2 words for you, buddy.
Suck it.